Hello, sexies. You are listening to Sisters of Sexuality, Five Shades of Play. And I am Taylor Sparks, your host and sex goddess for the evening. We are here for the purposes of educating, entertaining, and informing you in all areas of sexuality, sexual health, kink, relationships, and the business of sex. I am so excited for my next guest, and I almost feel like David Letterman, who wants to say this guest needs no introduction. But before I bring her on, let me give you a little bit about her. Parish Michelle Blair is a passionate feminine energy consultant based in Houston, Texas, with years of experience in helping women navigate their relationships and rediscover their feminine energy. Parish's expertise lies in assisting women with adjusting their mindset to feel safe and confident in their feminine energy. Parish has a deep understanding of the dynamics between masculine and feminine energies and specializes in helping men who desire to be with more feminine women. She provides expert guidance on how to communicate with women in a way that allows them to feel safe and supported in their feminine energy. In addition, Paris is also well-versed in working with corporate-minded women who have spent years in their masculine energy, helping them explore the power of their feminine energy and apply it towards their success in business, love, and life. Parish's approach is rooted in creating a safe and supportive space for her clients to explore their unique feminine energy and discover their true potential. She is committed to empowering women to live a more fulfilling and joyful life by embracing their feminine power. Parish, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Girl, this is your show too. Welcome back to the show. How you doing today?
I'm so happy to be here.
Good. My glasses match your dress.
Oh,
This wasn't the plan, but it is what it is. So I'm so happy you are here because I really want to talk about this movement that you have started. Gosh, almost 2.5 years ago. This movement being Adore Men, and you have your platform regarding I Adore Men, and I Adore Men on Mondays. And since today is Monday, is today Monday or today Tuesday?
today's Monday.
Today is Monday. Okay. If you're listening to this on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, it's okay. You can still adore man on any of the 7 days of the week. But first, just tell me what even gave you the concept to start this movement about adoring men?
Well, it's how I was moving in my own life, and bumping my head along the way as I thought maybe I was doing the right thing and adoring men. But as I went through my own process of letting go of programs that other people gave me about men and really listened to the man that's in front of me trying to explain himself, I gained a lot of knowledge and wisdom and just a better understanding of men directly from men. So I started realizing when I would leave my male clients and then go sit with women and hear them say the exact opposite that all the men I talked to all month were saying, and it's not serving the relationship, I started informally, just sharing and giving more insight. And when I saw that there's enough women that are receptive, then I knew, this is something that I should really I have some resistance against it. I'm going to be transparent. Some resistance against talking to women who don't want to take accountability. And I know sentence, everybody has a face that they imagine saying that, but that's the only thing, only word to choose. But women that still see it as happening to them, and any inkling of an idea that they could have done something different or a better decision triggers anger, I knew I wasn't built for that. So I looked to serving other masters like yourself and so many women that are in the industry of working with women who have some resistance, and so they could bring me in so I could be the kind of third party person, or I could give them insight, because some of the healers have the same programming, but they've committed and dedicated themselves to living in love as a healer. So even if you got the wrong programming, you can still tell something is off, and so I feel that spirit is guiding me to the top or echelon of women
Mm-hmm.
who get it. You know,
Yes,
all millionaires or anything, but they get it. They adore men. So, but
yes,
they deprogram themselves. So that's what motivated me to get a movement going, because I knew if I do this, I've got to get the brothers on board,
for
because these
sure.
they're not going to listen to me. You know, they're just going to shoot me down everything I say. So I started I Adore Men Monday, so women
Mm-hmm.
could their day off thinking about something positive. If you watch any part of that, you're going to get something positive that a man talks to about men, instead of us learning from each other and our
Mm-hmm.
bad experiences. If they can start their week off, then they're going to start attracting more. Like
Yes,
Abraham talks about, the more you focus on something, the more you're going to receive it. So
yes,
that
yes. So it's like you're being a conduit to kind of go between what men are saying, because men have are drawn to being able to, they might initially be drawn to you for your beauty, right? And then they realize there's substance with this beauty, and a lot of education, a lot of experience, a lot of grown ass woman shit. But most importantly, you can listen to them without judgment, because you're not their woman,
yes,
right? And they could literally see and feel your intention, which is to understand them, and then transfer that to women. Like you says, even the ones who have a little resistance, a lot of us still want to know, and we want to have good relationships with the men in our lives, even if it's our son or our father, or let alone our partners. So as you have been kind of working with this movement over the last couple of years, what was the like initial response from the men as you started promoting the I Adore Men Monday? What was like that first 6 months or that first year like? What were they like? Were they, you don't know, or were they were like, she's really listening? What did they say?
that was the beautiful thing about it. I was just not saying much. I mean, there was not a lot for me to say. It's about adoring men. I don't know nothing about that, comparatively speaking. What I know about what makes a woman happy, I know
Mhm.
and told me, but now I'm finding out there's a lot of men that aren't even honest with their wives, because they know we can't handle the truth, so they just love us and deal with it, which to me
Mm.
is more adorable.
Yeah.
But the response, the first wave I got was overwhelming. Men like stopping and saying protect her at all costs and give her flowers now, and it made me weep on social media, because I was like, I was expecting all this resistance, and I wanted the brothers to speak up, but I wasn't thinking they were going to put me on I don't want to say pedestal, but put me in a space where they felt like, no, somebody needs to say something about what the work you're doing. And they said, you're saying what we try to say, but
Mm-hmm.
as us sounding misogynistic, because they won't let us finish what we were going to say, or at least develop our thought, no matter what it sounds like. And
Mm-hmm.
then they said, the fact that I could sit there, even if I don't agree with the person, even if the person is being a little bit disrespectful, and not say anything, and not interrupt them. And I
Mm-hmm.
told the reason why I'm that way, brothers, is because feminine energy is way more powerful than me going, wait, let me tell you something. No, that's confusion. That's battling with a man that's already got all these issues with women. And now we're having a conversation. He's got nothing to lose. We're on social media. But if I'm quiet,
Mm-hmm.
usually the brothers say, okay, everybody be quiet now. Let Parish speak, or let Sexy Spirit speak. And
Mm-hmm.
but the whole point is not for me to get all these. I'm showing the sisters it works. I'm
Yes.
showing feminine in action, when it's good, when it's bad, when they agree, when they disagree. They all come back to, well, I do have to say, I appreciate, she knows what she's talking about, but she can be respectful. She was very feminine. So
Right.
that doesn't mean lay down and let a man dog you. It means give him his space so he can fully show you what you're working with. Now,
Mm-hmm.
no, let me not attack him. He's going through something.
Mm-hmm. I have found, and with my understanding the different personality styles, that some personality styles take a little longer to get their thoughts from their brain to their mouth. And sometimes some of us, as I point to myself, are quick to try to finish the sentence that this man is getting ready to say. And more often than not, because we're not in their head and or we're thinking for them, we're finishing sentences and he wasn't even going that direction. And then you throw him off course with what he was trying to say as he was trying to kind of get his thoughts together, because we have, and I say we women sometimes have mistakenly believed that whatever he was fitting to gonna say wasn't gonna be agreeable to us. So we had to stop him and be like, let me tell you, as if we're trying to beat somebody to the punch. When, every statement which took me a long time to learn, every statement that a man makes doesn't always warrant a response. Sometimes you could just sit and go, and let him talk until he starts to repeat himself. That's when you pretty much know he's done. When he starts to repeat, but if you interrupt him to make your point before he even gets to that point, he hasn't said everything he has to say. And do you agree, Parish, that, if it's something that's been weighing on his heart and he's finally come to you vulnerable to say how he feels about the relationship, how he feels about sex, how he feels about your mama, your children, whatever it is, even if you share children together, that if we could just sit long enough, he can feel heard. And when he feels heard, he feels supported. Is that part of it, about a part of us just kind of sitting?
That we got to back it up a little bit.
Okay.
Because that only applies if the woman really loves that man, if that man is her friend, if she really took the time to get to know him in his good, bad, up, down, the top of everything to the bottom, that. So then why are you getting so mad? That's like your best friend. You've been married to him for how? Okay, so he said something the wrong way. If your best friend said something the wrong way, you more than likely wouldn't respond the same way. So what I'm coming to find, and there's no sisters pushing back or brothers, but I'm finding in my own research with who I'm working with, that the majority of the relationships, in the true sense of the word, in the action word, the men love the woman, but the woman more involved based on what his performance was. It was very subjective commitment. Even if it wasn't, I'm going to divorce you, just I'm checking out as a feminine being. We're just roommates now because I'm not happy with whatever it is. And I found that that's very detrimental to men, because if they're a monogamous man, and these are all monogamous men who are not trying to cheat, they have the room to, and some do, to be completely transparent and say that there was a transgression or they're working through that. And that most of the scenarios I'm talking about are faithful men that aren't going to cheat, but they're not getting the sex, they're not getting affection, they're not getting eye contact, they're not getting a pleasant tone, they're not getting initiating towards them. So they're literally working on a deficit of a feminine energy. And when we don't show up any other place really feminine, the feminine that can feed a man feminine, if you don't show up any other place other than the bedroom, or when he takes you out, or when it's the moon and the stars and
everything's aligned, it's
if he doesn't get it any other time, I am not promoting or condoning in any way, but think about it. You're literally starving him of the thing that made him decide, I want to be a one woman man and I want to be her man. And worse, you're not giving him anything to go out into the world and keep doing that for you. Forget about cheating, but just he's working depleted. How's his kidneys? What's his heart, his cardiovascular system, his nervous system? So thinking about it more, not like, what should we say and how should we listen? Do you even love this man?
Yeah.
That's just a personal thing for women to do. I really love him in action. If he wasn't making the money he made, if I had to take care of him and wipe his butt,
Right.
unexpected, of whatever situation,
Sure.
do like that. And if you do, then all the things I've say will apply to you. If it doesn't, that's why you're not doing it. So it's okay to back up. It's okay to be honest. It's okay to pause. It's okay to separate. Why keep going in the wrong direction just because you said you're going in that direction?
Right. You made a decision. You can change your mind. And I think and it's from folks that I've known and we've spoke. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I forgot this part. You free up the man so he can be adored by a woman who values him. And then you're free,
Yes.
instead of talking bad about him and getting irritated about him, you're free to go get whatever you want, whatever you think
Yes.
you.
Yes. And that, you know, speaking personally, that was the case with my husband, my ex-husband and I. And we just were, and I tell people all the time, I said, it's not that the marriage was bad. It was 25 years. He raised great, you know, two great kids and bought some property and traveled around the world. But 25 years in, we were not kicking the can down the same road. And we didn't want the same things. And what we wanted was different. And I'm like, you should have a woman who wants what you want. And I'm going to go get what I want. Why continue when we're not even facing the same direction, let alone not even going down the same road? And so, you know, we parted and it wasn't this, you know, horrific, horrible, you know, 2 years to work. It was like, no, 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 I'm going to go because I realized what he wanted was different than what I now wanted. And we should both be able to have what we want and be happy at what we want. So
I hope
that's what we did.
I hope we normalize something that you just said.
Mm,
So many brothers, it would free so many brothers, because breakups and divorce, those types of things hit men really hard for a long time before they can feel solid again. But
mm-mm.
said it was a successful marriage. We were blessed. We traveled. Our kids were healthy. You know, we did wonderful things. We built businesses. So it would, instead of brothers feeling like they're failures because
Yeah.
they're not the husband and the father that they wanted to be, if it's going to be a split family, and so they just feel like failure energy. So thinking
Mm.
you were a part of a successful relationship, just like if you decided I don't want to work at that company anymore, it's not a failing company. It was thriving while you were there, and now
Just
you're
gonna
not
keep thriving.
somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
And
So as you
though
say again,
I'm definitely not promoting divorce. I'm saying the people who are
right.
that a more elevated way to think so you feel better.
Yes, no, I'm not promoting divorce either. But I did come to realize, not from my situation, but from others that I have met along my journey, um, that some people have probably stayed longer than they should. And, you know, you want to stay together. You want to, especially when you got that much, well, no matter how much time you've invested, you know, invested time is invested time, whether it's 1 year or 25 years. And you want to try to make it work, but you then have to be like, okay, we've done a lot, we've done everything. Now what? And be honest with where do you see your, your future, and wish each other well, and not fight over. We fought over nothing. No stuff. I'm like, it's stuff. We can get more stuff. You keep it. We need the stuff.
The-
It's
On
stuff.
a, on a basic scientific level,
Mm,
you stay in something that you don't want or you're not happy with or is happy being in for a long period of time, and you keep procrastinating and waiting. The problem is when you do leave, you're usually leaving with something that I'm fed up, you know,
mm,
even if it's not that, because you stayed. Most people have a problem staying and being happy and positive and not thinking about anything negative, only the kind of love that they want to have. It's hard to think about the love you want to have when you're manifesting something, when you're with the love you don't want anymore. So
yes.
the day when you leave, you might have all of the, the things you want in the divorce. However, you're going to see some of the things that you were talking about and getting irritated in show up in the relationships, because it's not like that. Like the man I was married to, he was bad and he was a jerk, and I don't know what was wrong with him. Okay, now that I'm away from him, all I see is flowers and
Right. No.
that's on television. Those are in chick flicks. In real life, you manifest what you feel, what you think about. So even if you're with someone that you know, I'm not ready to divorce him. I don't want to separate yet, but I want to figure this out. And I just know we're not going to stay together for long. While you're there, stay in gratitude, stay in peace, stay in femininity. Because when you do that, when you leave, you're going to get a man that matches that energy. When you leave with that energy of, oh, I'm so glad I got away from that. That feels good. You're going to compare it to that and think this is the one, or I'm moving up. But the lessons are still there because you didn't get them in that relationship.
Yep.
But once you get the lesson, it's not like a sneaky trick to keep you away from love. Once you get the lesson, which is, I'm manifesting all this shit. Let me stop thinking these thoughts. Why do these kind of guys, why do liars keep coming to me? Am I lying to you about something? And I remember a yoga instructor told me, when you see your reflection, we all see, I can see my reflection in that situation. When you see your reflection and you see that, you know, you have some spinach in your teeth, you don't wipe it off the mirror, you wipe it off of you. The experience is a reflection. So you take some time to disconnect before you cuss people out, before you divorce people, fire people, and reflect on, where are these emotions coming from? Because this situation was drawn by these emotions. We think this situation made me feel this way. The man's not making you feel that way. You feel that way. That's why you have that kind of man. So if you can't, once you get your feeling, don't let the guy go yet. Get your feelings in alignment. Start working in gratitude that, you know what, this shit is so fucked up and off, and he's getting on my nerves, but I manifested a good man. You know, reliable. He's, you know, I got to get something in alignment so I can authentically want to have sex with him. But when we did have sex, I picked a good lover. We're just off right now. Let me figure out what part of the off I am. I can't set out for him. And then when you'll be open and more ready for masculine energy, because you can calm down.
Yeah. So that brings me to, we talked about how the men reacted, but as women started to watch you, start and continue through with this movement, and they could see, and they could, first, how did they respond? And then as they saw the men responding, then how did the women respond? So first, how did the women respond when you started the I Adore Men Monday? And then as the women saw the men respond, then how did their response change or not change?
Well, but keep in mind, when I say the I Adore Men movement or I Adore Men Monday, that's when I created a place where you can follow and look for that kind of content and the branding for that. But I was already doing that work prior to. I just didn't say, hey, let me put these two things together. Before I said, let me put these two things together, the sisters, always trash talked in the comments and called me a simp, and I'm a pick me, and the brothers always supported, but they're young and single and free to mingle, and they might want those women, so they can't protect me too much. And so it was kind of everybody's, it felt like middle school when I followed spirit and thought, I adore men Monday, but I want to adore men every day. Why just Monday? I just did what spirit said. I put it together. The brothers were like, I did one conversation. The brothers were like, this is a safe place. Thank you so much for providing this. I'm going to support you. And they're usually handsome, eligible, or just married and positive men. So the women are like, I want to follow that person. So some women are like, I like going to that I Adore Men Monday. I don't agree with everything you say, because I would have cut that brother off. But I followed him because I like the fact that he takes care of his kids. And so they get exactly what Spirit said. Create I Adore Men Monday. It's going to give men a safe place where they can talk on social media and not get cut off, and get their emotions out and figure it out as men. And I'm just supposed to be feminine energy that holds space so sisters can see how to do it in the good times and the bad times. So that teaches women how to be feminine in those situations. It shows women what men really think instead of what we want them to think. And and brothers who don't have men to look up to and to connect with that way. They have a source of content. So it just all came together as soon as I told the brothers, and they were like, yes, we're going to support it. The sisters were like, these are positive brothers. I met them through Parish, and other women started following. And then they also said that the exercise that I tell women to do at every I Adore Men Monday, I let them know. Now, on my platform on Monday, the man is always right. It's not about wrong or right, I should say, but whatever he says, I'm not going to cut him off because I don't like the way he said it, or even that it's disrespectful, because no conversations usually get that way. But if they do, sisters, just trust me and watch that I'm letting spirit guide this. And so when the sisters could see that when I tell them, when a man says something disrespectful or that we feel disrespected when he says it, breathe deeply before you do anything. You're breathing anyway. If you're not, you need to breathe because you shouldn't be holding your breath. Breathe deeply through your nose. You're filling yourself with spirit. The breath is translated spirit. So you're allowing spirit to be in your body, and those negative feelings that you feel when this brother keeps saying what he's saying and he's being so one-sided, and okay, get all that, let spirit take it with you so it's out of your body and release through your mouth. And you're going to feel women start laughing. Some women start crying. They're like, oh my God. I was like, that shit that was already there. That's why you manifested being in this live broadcast, so it could get triggered. You should really be thankful for that, brother, because you didn't know you feel disrespected. You didn't know you felt all these feelings from the last relationship that you haven't finished yet. That brother, but why do you care so much? Why are your emotions invested? Because they're attached to him. You manifested him. Yes. When they can see life, then they can listen to the brother. Okay, he's talking. Okay, Parish is being quiet. All right, I'm going to be quiet. I didn't know on that way. So literally, I'm teaching women that are older than me, women that are my age, some women that are 20 something. You know, I never thought that was going to happen. I just thought, I Adore Men Monday, have positive conversations, and I don't know what's going to happen from here. So I'm thankful. I can't comment on the sisters that are, better put some respect on my name. About those sisters, because those sisters aren't for me. They're still learning. I planted a seed. They saw me. They can't say they didn't see me, but it might not have to grow the way I'm growing. The people who grow with me are growing the way I'm growing. So the that I'm meeting that are like, yeah, you're right. When I heard you say, why do we make fun of men on these memes and talk about how they can't find our clit when we know exactly where it is? Why didn't we turn on the light and show them instead of?
I don't know why people. Why do you let this man continue to do your man, the man you've chosen to lay down with, even if you're not going to keep him? Right. Why would you why would you let him keep doing it wrong? It was right. Like it
only to go and masturbate,
right?
And then put a meme up about it,
or bitch to your girlfriends about he don't know what he's doing. It's like, well, first of all, you picked him, and then second of all, most men. Partners, but most men who have chosen to lay down with you really would like to please you. You have a few that are only just there for themselves, sure, but most of them are like, did I do a good job? I mean, I always say men are just, boys with long hairy legs, and it's like
that. It's actually very sensual and passionate. What turns them on, what's making their dick hard, is your moans, the way you're moving your hips. Like, they're really into our sexuality. They're really into us. And if they're not yet, you chose them. I'm not saying teach them, but why would you why would you discard it? You're teaching everybody something about you. You're just teaching him something more intimate. And if you got anger and frustration and irritation, like, I shouldn't have to do that. That's why you chose a man, to show you what's going on. Where's that irritation that you're having in your sexuality, that you're not attracting men who are in alignment with what you want. Even if you find people who are in alignment, using your words are sexy. You can just hear somebody, I like a cup of coffee, and your pussy gets wet. It's vibrating. You know, really, using your words is powerful.
Say it in Spanish. Quiero café.
Especially men. You they love to hear the feminine moans and the voices, especially if it's not nagging and negative.
Especially.
You don't have to lie, but telling them in a way that's letting, like I always say, Taylor knows, I'll say, if they were like scratching my vagina with their beard or something, I know that they don't mean it and they're really into it, but I'll lift up their head and say, you know what, when you're doing that, that's what's making my legs shake. That feels so good. But
Yeah.
can you put your chin down a little bit, because that scratching takes away from what I'm getting ready to come. They're like, they do whatever I say.
Right.
That's why they're doing it. They're doing it so that I have an orgasmic experience. If I sit there and let him hurt me and then say, I'm not going out with him anymore, he just hurt me. And
Well,
it's like, that he was hurting you?
this is the thing, though. This is the thing. If women would take I mean, this may sound crazy, but a lot of monogamous women, a lot of vanilla women who maybe have never been to, and I'm ashamed to even say it, who've never been to like a nude beach and I knew logically that everyone had different vaginas and clitoris sizes. And I knew logically, but I had never seen it until I was like at like a clothing optional resort. And then I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And it explained a lot about myself. Why do you think, as a woman who's with a vanilla man who might have only seen a handful, that he would know exactly how to please you? Some men luck up, they're just good all around because maybe they've had a lot of experience. But if this man has enough going on with himself, that you have chosen to have sex with him, then why would you not want him to know how to please you and have the full best experience? I mean, you don't have to tell him right that second, per se. I mean, some of us are good at directing right at that second, but I always, like you said, use your words. You can do it over a cup of coffee, or
moment, and you suffer through, you're going to have the frustration, the disappointment of having to go through that so he could finish. And then thinking you're enjoying it with him. So it's going to be a huge vibrational misalignment. It's better. No man, if there's a man that makes you feel comfortable because you're asking him to stop for a minute, then you shouldn't be sleeping with him. They should be willing to stop at any moment. You say, stop.
yeah.
If you can't say, can you stop for just a minute? I need to breathe for a minute. And just breathe and remember your breath. Remember, there's nothing to be mad at. He just needs direction. Okay, I always direct men. I'm sick of directing men. Okay, well then why did you choose this man? You could tell you were going to have to direct him.
Right.
Don't add it. Like really think all these thoughts before you say anything to him. He's literally doing nothing. He could probably make another woman come all night. You chose who he doesn't qualify, not just now. There's other things you were overlooking because you just want somebody. So
right.
you just wanted somebody, and now that he's not doing it right, you don't even want to direct him because you just wanted somebody. You don't want to invest that much time. And that's the truth, and that's not bad. But tell him the truth or tell yourself the truth.
Yes.
You're messing up some good sex out there.
Girl, like tell yourself the truth. That is more the truth than, I agree with you. And I have been using, since I heard you say it, I have been saying it a lot. Like, I've never had bad sex. I've only had better sex. I've had better sex, but it's been good, but it hasn't been bad because I was there. When I heard you say that the first time, I'm like, oh my God, she's so right. It wasn't bad, but I've had better.
And if I had good sex, but there were parts that didn't feel good while I was having the good sex, I stopped to readjust because I knew I was a lover that would want to know that.
Yes. Yeah.
Instead of saying, oh my gosh, every time it hurts so much. Did you let him know? No, I just
I had a girlfriend say, why should I have to tell him? I'm like, well, how else would he know? And she was like, I'm not doing that. Well, then you're going to keep getting shitty sex if you're not willing to explain it. So, but before we get off this tangent, let me go back to the I Adore Men Monday because, I know that we as women, and well, you and I know, and some other women know too, that we've received messages from our mothers about sex and sexuality. Some of the messages we received directly. Some of the message we received unknowingly, meaning we were 6 or 7 walking through the living room and mom was in there with her girlfriends talking about sex because they thought we were too young and we didn't understand it, but we internalized it. So because we internalized it, that we then moved on into our teen years and our young adult years with these thoughts about sex and who's a whore and who's a prostitute and sucking dick. And then, we'd hear about sucking dick and something would go off in our minds. So you and your daughter, Brooke, have put together, coming up in May, right? Tell us about it, because I really want the audience to know, because they need to be there. So do tell. What are you and Brooke doing?
Thank you so much for your support, sis. Brooke and I are hosting an event to honor mothers, May 5th through the 7th. It's an online experience. And the theme of the event is, what did your mother teach you about adoring men with your positive feminine energy, love, sex, and respect? So I told my daughter, we both agreed, because we never had a formal conversation where she's like, thanks, mom, for all these da 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 things you taught me. So I said, yeah, I would like to wait until we go to the event so we can be transparent in the moment with the people that attend. So the point of doing that is, this is all programming. Just like when we watch television, they say you're watching so-and-so program, it's a program, something that you're getting your mind readily conditioned to think, and thoughts create things. So in the programs that we get from our mothers, the things that they teach us by not telling us why they broke up, not explaining, no, that's just my guy friend, not my, my boyfriend. It's just get out of grown folks' business, or none of your business, just piecing it together. And you're hearing stepdads talk about, with stepmoms, and just things that little kids hear, and I've seen it with so many clients, where there's one woman that's like, I would go to my dad's house and my stepmom would be talking about how my mother was a whore and this and that. And I didn't even know what a whore was. And I looked up a whore. So I thought my mom was a whore. And then when I see my mom go out on dates. And so she said for a long time, she resented her mother for dating because she thought she was a whore. And she really didn't understand anything, because she said, I'm not allowed to ask. So I listened to what was in the schools, and she was introverted. So I was like, wow, that we really have to be responsible for what we're showing our daughters. We'll talk a lot about the fathers that aren't in the homes, but the mothers are there. So the messages that, let alone the sons, we're not going to get into right now, but what messages are we giving our daughters about that? Because if you say, I've never been with a man that I could adore. Okay, well, some of the core things that, relationships need, you never had it, you didn't know how to give it. Check in with your daughter and see how she's doing in those areas.
Right.
First of all, how are you feeling? Do you have enough to adore a man in those areas? Are you struggling with your feminine energy? Are you struggling with loving yourself and adoring your own self? Okay, well, then that's probably why you probably can't give to this man right now. So stop telling him you're ready to get married when you're really not.
Right.
You're sucking him in so that you can fill these voids. When we can really talk like that as mothers and daughters, I know for a fact that the mothers and daughters, because these are adult women, they're going to leave that seminar more ready to initiate giving blowjobs and being more open and taking their t-shirt off and turning on the lights or whatever they used to be inhibited by, because their mother's even behind them. Thing when you leave a place knowing, my mom and I talked about real stuff, not joking like ha ha he over margaritas, no, real stuff, things that to me, she held space for me. I understand it better now. I can be a sexual woman without that hang up. My mother gave that to me. So this is a way for us to elevate. Some women's mother might not be there because of transitioning into spirit or not wanting to or being able to. So all of the mothers are going to be holding space for those women in that situation. And for the mothers who maybe don't have daughters who want to participate, we're all for each other. so that we can leave this is about moving forward and transferring this energy to some men. Not
Right.
that I'm talking, because these are women who had men who want to do that. I'm not saying all women should be feminine for men. I'm saying the women that came to the seminar because I'm not connecting with my man because I don't know how. You didn't show me, mom. You showed me
Right.
the opposite. You're going to leave better. So now you can transfer that energy when you're ready to the man. This is different than the goddess seminars and all of the things at the sister circles, because we do that and we have our waist beads and incense,
Yeah.
and then we go home and we still say men ain't, you know what.
Shit.
So it would be great if the brothers could see that goddess transfer.
Mhm.
How does it benefit him? And if you feel like, well, it's not about him, and that, okay, you might want to not check on it and change it, but just know that's probably not the brother for you then, because he's thinking, if all of that goodness that you feel inside of your yoni and your breath work, if you're feeling that, let me feel it too. Let me feel it inside of you. Let me see it in our food. Let me see it in the house and the way you comb your hair. If you're like, get out of here with that, I'm busy, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a mother, then it's like, okay, you're cutting off the feminine energy. Why are you with him if you don't want to give it to him? And I'm not telling you you should or shouldn't, but ask yourself these questions, because
Exactly.
no, you know what? It's when my cycle gets like this, do something about it. There's
Because it's
TV,
not like, yeah, it's
there's
not like you, it's not like you can't do something about it. And we,
because
some,
hey, my cycle, deal with it.
mm,
That's how it is in our family. That's really not the truth. That's not the truth to teach men, because that's not the truth.
right,
We can
right.
control, we can, I mean, not in all cases, but there's something you could do. Even if you have a severe case, you can let him know that while you're dating him. you know I have one of those menstrual cycles that I'm not myself. I'm going to be mean and angry to you.
Yeah.
Don't hooked up and locked in and then tell him,
Right, right. Just don't be around my house between the 5th and the 10th of every month. Check with me on the 11th. We'll go back out.
and it uses it. Men do it every day when they don't know, because they love you. Men, that's my report to all women.
Yeah.
Good. Like, I'm not, my ministry aren't the cheaters and the liars and the players. The men that you married, that you love, that you have a hard time trusting, or that maybe he broke your trust and you're trying to forgive him and move forward. He really loves you. That's the reason why he got married. Like, they're very simple. I just wanted a wife, a family, fix stuff, make sure you're happy, leave a
That's
legacy,
it.
bring you my money, like help your mother. Like, literally, they just want to love you. I
Yeah.
found, by watching all of these men unfold in front of me and show me their honest self in my session. So that renewed my faith, and I want to manifest love when the time is right for me. I don't have to
Mm.
work. The world changed so much since my last marriage, and no men want to be faithful, and everybody's cheating and in the DM
It's
on the gram.
it's not the case. But again, words become things, and a belief is just a thought you keep on thinking, right? And you and I and some of our other goddess friends, we meet amazing, wonderful men all the time. They may not be the choice for us for one reason or another, but these are really good guys at the core, and they're not getting, maybe they're not asking. I'm not saying it's all the woman's fault. Maybe they're not asking. Maybe they picked the wrong woman, but they're not getting the love that they deserve. And some women are not getting the love they deserve for some of the same reasons. So tell us again, what are the dates? I'm going to make sure that the link is in the show notes so people can register for this online event. Tell me the
Yeah,
name and the date that again.
the name of the event is How to Adore Men, and we're asking the question, what did your mother teach you about how to adore men with your positive feminine energy, love, sex, and respect? It's May 5th through the 7th. It's an online event. I also wanted to make sure that everyone knew that you can follow the I Adore Men Monday page on Instagram. We're building new interviews. You'll see some that started when I first put the concept together, and how it's grown when we update you with the new content. So,
Perfect.
hey,
Yay. Well, listen, Parish Michelle Blair, thank you so much for being on the show. It was so good to have you back here, Chica.
like, oh, hey.
Yes, like home. So to stay up to date with Parish Michelle Blair, you could check out her website at sexyspirittv.com. Follow her on her social media. Her Instagram is official Sexy Spirit TV. And also you can get exclusive, very exclusive content on her OnlyFans at Sexy Spirit TV. And of course, again, on her I Adore Men Monday on IG. And to stay up to date with Sisters of Sexuality, you can check out our website at sistersofsexuality.com. And if you have any questions for me or my guests, email me at sistersofsexuality@gmail.com. And of course, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Sisters of Sexuality. And be sure to visit our sponsor and sister site, Organic Lovin', for all of your organic, intimate body products. And if you like this episode, leave us a review, like, subscribe, and share. And until next time, stay sexy. Bye-bye.